Hi, I'm Max Keiser. Welcome back to the Keiser Report. In studio, Gerald Celente. Gerald, welcome to the Keiser Report.
Oh, great being here, Max.
Okay. Joe, by the way, this is the latest Trends Journal. Here. It's dynamite, as always. Every single edition has got fantastic forecasting and fantastic comments on what's happening in the world today. And people are coming around to your way of thinking on a lot of these issues that are gobbling up our civil space and our banking system. Let me ask you first about MF Global. I see John Corzine is still not behind bars, but he's bundling for Obama, raising funds. Your thoughts?
What a surprise. It's the syndicate. That's all it is. And nobody from the syndicate's heads ever roll. Have you seen a head roll since the crash of 2008, all the banking crimes that have been committed? Why should Corzine be any different? Did you see anybody from the Merrill Lynch mob go under? The Goldman Sachs gang? Oh no, $555 million fine, but we don't admit or deny any allegations of wrongdoing. You jaywalk and you get a ticket.
Well, let me cut in, because there's this incredible double standard of justice now. I mean, before, it was understood that, okay, if you had a lot of money, you had some influence, and you can kind of write your own ticket, you get a get out of jail card. But it's gotten absurd these days where at the top, you can steal $1.6 billion, as the Jamie Dimon and John Corzine have done. But on the street level, the penalties for simple crimes are outrageous. People going to jail for 10 years, 5 years, penitentiary for downloading a song, for example. How do they get that huge spread? It's very, historically, have we seen anything as outrageous as this? I think maybe Stalinist Russia or something.
Well, you nailed it. Matter of fact, the guy just got busted for stealing a Coke at McDonald's, a dollar soda. People get busted for selling raw milk. You hit it. Stalinist Russia, but it's really not that. It's more fascist. The merger of state and corporate powers, by definition, is called fascism. And fascism at every level has come to America. Not only on the TSA when you go on an airplane and get felt up, not only the new Supreme Court ruling that if you're not wearing a seatbelt and they arrest you and take you to jail, or you had a drink and they're going to throw you in jail for drinking too much, spread your legs and bend over. Strip searches are now for anybody and everybody. So when you look at the merger of state and corporate powers, it's not something that I'm making up. All my life from a little kid, they told me, you know, this is a capitalist society, and you rise and fall on your own merits, except when you're a member of the White Shoe Boy Club. Then when you go bust, we're going to steal all the money from the people, and then we're going to give it to you. We got a name for it. We're going to call it Too Big to Fail, because you're better than everybody. So nothing happens bad to you. Meanwhile, whether it's the United States, Spain, Ireland, Italy, UK, Greece, Portugal, go around the globe. We need more money. We're going to call it austerity measures. So what it is, it's punishing the people at every level, cutting services, cutting pensions, cutting benefits, increasing the retirement age till after you die. Whatever they do, it's hit the little people so that we can keep propping up the top. Is this propaganda? No. Look at the numbers. The gap between the rich and the poor is the widest in the United States and any of the industrialized nations. You put it all together. Justice means just us, not them.
You know, Trends Journal has political trends, it has economic trends, it also has social trends. And you bring them all together, and that's why it's so widely read and popular. And on the social trends front, I've been in New York now for a couple of weeks, and I see things that I find remarkable. For example, I was at a club the other night. It was a comedy club. And the comedian, before they went into their routine, they gave a series of disclaimers. Like these jokes, they're about women, but they're not about the women in this room. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did it in a way that was palpable as a show. But even a comedian, even a bastion of where humor is, where you're allowed free speech, is now no longer possible. It's become humorless. This city, this country, has become charmless. It's become humorless. Everyone is on edge. Everyone is frightened. Everyone's looking over their shoulder. Everyone's still crying about 9/11 in this town. You know, it was already 12 years ago. Can we move on? I mean, let's face it. That was an event that had both innocent victims but not so innocent victims. We shouldn't just keep that as a marker and say everything going forward from that moment is now a gulag. You have to live in a gulag. Well, we don't want to live in a gulag. What are your thoughts?
That's exactly what happened. They call it Battlefield America. Look at the laws that have been passed. You start with going back to Clinton, actually, after Oklahoma City, he started robbing us of our Fourth Amendment rights. It got ramped up with the Patriot Act after 9/11 with Bush, the Raping of the Constitution Act. And then Obama's out Bush. How about the lovely National Defense Authorization Act? Signed on New Year's Eve. You know, everybody's glued to the news on New Year's Eve. So when no one's watching, what does he do? He said that, you know, guys like Celente over there, up in Kingston, New York, you know, he's a lot of trouble. He's not pro our team. He's a belligerent to the state. Take him away. No judge, no jury, no trial, no charges, no habeas corpus, only a hanging by the military. They could do anything they want to anybody that they want at any time. Oh, this is the country that's going to spread democracy around the world. Yeah, while you're losing it here. That's just the beginning. In that act, they repealed the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878, whereby they prohibited the military from taking police actions. Now the military could go anywhere and take over police activities. Then we saw Obama sign an executive order in February. Oh, this is a beauty. If there's a, quote, potential terror threat, you remember those colors, you know, the orange and the yellow? Well, in orange, it's going to be red, a potential terror threat. El Presidente of los Estados Unidos. I say that because the joints turned into a banana republic, because it goes back to what you said about Corzine, you know, how they get a free ride, because that's what goes on in banana republics. So let's get this straight. Now El Presidente could say, I'm declaring martial law. Yeah, that's right. I'm taking over the banks, I'm taking over the factories, the farms, all the businesses because of a potential threat. And how long does potential last for? Forever. And then we have Big Bro. You know, Big Bro, they've out Big Brothered with Big Bro. And now the Attorney General over there, Eric Holder, he just signed a new guideline. Hey, don't stop typing on that, because Big Bro is watching you. Every stroke of your keyboard, they are now following you, and every cell phone call you make, any surveillance tape, everything that you do, Max Keiser, while you're in the Los Estados Unidos over here, you may be a potential threat, because we have algorithms that the geniuses put in place over at Big Brother's central headquarters to see whether or not we have to arrest you before you cause more trouble.
Well, speaking of algorithms, Gerald, it's been reported now that up from 70% to 86% of all the trading on these exchanges are algorithmic trading, high-frequency trading, computer trading, to keep this economy looking puffed up. Because there's no humans doing any of the trading anymore. It's all machines trading with each other. And I want to speak on that point a little bit, but also follow up on what you were just saying in terms of the drumbeat to war. You write about this, and you say it's not about this existential threat, it's more about economics.
Yeah, because the systems are collapsing. The Spanish problem, that little problem, the Italian one, the Irish one, the Portuguese one, the Greek one, they're not going away. You remember what they did. Right during the Christmas holiday, when not many people were watching, the European Central Bank dumped, what, 1.3 trillion euros into the system at virtually interest-free loans to the banks to keep them from runs on the banks, and to use the money to buy the worthless bonds. That's run out. The whole system is collapsing. Oh, did you see the latest new numbers on GDP growth? It just came in the States. Oh, they were lower than estimated. Oh, yeah, why? Because they dumped trillions of dollars into the system and just gave it to their buddies, and there's no recovery. And the jobs that they're creating are low-level jobs. So what does it all mean? They're putting all this in place because of social unrest. They know it's collapsing. Every day there's riots. As we speak, there's riots going on last week up in Montreal with the students. Every day, 100,000 people to the streets in Prague a few weeks ago. Hundreds of thousands all the time in Greece and Spain. It's class warfare. When the money stops flowing down to the man on the street, the blood starts flowing in the streets. They're putting these things in place to keep the people in place because it's breaking apart.
One last question, and we touched upon it earlier. You talk about fascism, and there's a direct connection now between, let's say, J.P. Morgan giving donations to the police force of millions of dollars during and after these street rallies. And that's their, in effect, hiring out the municipal cops to be their private mercenary force. Isn't that clearly an example of fascism?
Of course it is. And you just keep looking around. You know, but they call it different things. Here, you got this guy Christie over here in New Jersey, this senator or Governor Christie. He's bragging about all the money that he's giving to Xerox, to this one, to that one. And the same thing in New York State with Cuomo. He just gave money to a German company to create jobs, tax breaks, loan guarantees, hundreds of millions of dollars. The merger of state and corporate powers, by definition, is called fascism. And the police don't serve and protect. You know who they serve and protect? How come they don't go after John Corzine? How come they don't go after the Goldman Sachs gang? Oh, no, hands off them. The boys got the word not to go after the syndicate. Leave them alone. Just keep busting the little people. The cops in America have become nothing more than IRS agents that are armed. Because you go 5 miles over the limit, you don't have a seatbelt on, you're that far over the drinking limit, boy, do they beat you up, rough you up. I just got a ticket for rolling through a stop sign. I'm driving for over 50 years. I know how to drive. I'm in a little nowhere place up in Red Hook, New York. And I go through the sign. I didn't stop, just $160.
Outrageous. The Trends Journal is the must-read. Gerald Celente, we're out of time. Thanks so much for being on the Keiser Report.
Hey, great being here with you, Max.
All right, and that's going to do it for this edition of the Keiser Report with me, Max Keiser, and Stacey Herbert. I want to thank my guest, Gerald Celente. If you want to send me an email, please do so at keiserreport@rttv.ru. Until next time, Max Keiser saying bye, y'all.